Open your ears and crack some beers. You are listening to the most recent episode of Retro Hangover.
Hello, retro and classic gamers. Welcome to the podcast where we are Googling golden geese, gaggling, gagging grannies. This is Retro Hangover. I am your co-host, Chris Copleen, with special guest, Keith Gasper of Main Quest Podcast. And, as always, your host, Shane, the man with the golden dick dragon! Koski!
Man with the golden dick dragon. I feel like that's in the echelons of dick dragon monikers. I feel like that one is somewhere near the top. I'm all about that one.
It's a 00 dick dragon.
It's like t-shirt material, I feel like.
Ooh.
Also, what gagging grannies? I didn't need that in my life today. What the fuck, man?
Hey man, don't kink shame Grammys.
I mean, you know, they gotta have something going on for them at the home.
Yeah, definitely at the home. You know, sometimes it can be that friend down the hallway or the nurse that's about to go to prison.
That's two entirely different kinds of gagging, I feel like.
Be nice to your elder citizens and gag them if it turns them on. I mean, report people who do bad things to them.
Consent is important. That just reminds me of that one community. What the hell is that place called? You probably know this, like further south here in Florida, where it's just like an old people community that's just rampant with syphilis.
I just call it a Florida retirement home.
I mean, that's probably fair. Yeah. No, there's like an entire community. There was like news stories done about it where it's just like the old people. They're just the olds. They're just bombing around in their golf carts, just fucking everyone. And they're just like, we don't care. We're old.
Yeah. Why would you?
And there's just like STIs as far as the eye can see.
I'm swimming in herpes. My face is just a sore open with pus, but it just looks like I'm coming all the time.
Wow. How do we recover from this at this point? We're talking about GoldenEye today, everybody. Keith's here.
I just had like the image of a bad Garbage Pail Kids card.
Oh, yeah.
Scratch and sniff?
Please no.
Estrogen or something like that. I don't know.
Whoa.
Hey guys, what's up?
Hey.
What's going on, dude?
Not much.
Glad to have you back on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. I'm actually glad I got to hear you perform one of the go-to outer space dick dragon screams, because the last time I was on, you were like very polite and you're like, Shane, Koski, dick dragon, whatever. Like you were in that whole you were in that whole quiet mode the last time I was on.
Was I doing an NPR thing?
Yeah, that was the NPR phase, probably.
Oh. Or was it just, I don't know. It was a weird time back then. It was a Christmas episode, so we were trying to bring some joy.
We were trying some different things, you know, trying to evolve as a group. And then our fan base, as they are wont to do, told us that shit sucks. And they just want us to make the same album 10 more times. So here we are.
Fuck yeah.
We're just a bunch of Neanderthals. We know what we want. We're very simple people.
Give us Screech.
It's iconic, like a Ubisoft hat.
Exactly. But less expensive.
Yes.
Unless you're a patron, in which case, thank you.
So today we are talking about GoldenEye, which is a game for the N64.
Sure is.
Which I'm sure a lot of you know about. So it'd be interesting.
Never heard of it.
I know. Yeah, some of you may have never heard of it. In that case, well, I don't know why you're here, but I'm happy you are.
They're just curious, you know?
They are curious.
Or maybe now I can't get this fucking grandma thing out of my head. All I can think of is like GoldenEye also sounds like something that could be the result of being at one of those communities for too long. Like, God, you've ruined everything, Chris. Thank you.
I'm trying to stop gagging on my own laughs.
You could possibly go into one of those retirement homes and get an odd job.
Ooh,
that is very true.
Who throws a shoe?
Honestly.
But as we are wont to do, as Shane already made the reference to, so I'm coming in late on this.
I had to preempt it.
We'd like to talk about the games we have been playing before we get into the game du jour. Keith, you are our illustrious guest here today. So what have you been playing, dude?
So I've kind of been like in a old school RPG, JRPG kick. JRPG, RPG. I use the term, I intermingle them. But I'm playing Live Alive, and I'm not playing the remake that came out last month. I'm actually playing the Super Famicom fan translation. And I've been having a pretty good time with it up until I left the first village that I was in, because the random encounters in this game are unacceptable. There's just so many. Like my best example, and this was kind of where I dropped it a few days ago, was I was in a battle, had just gotten out of it, and I had moved my party on the world map like one single pixel, and it kicked me right back into another battle, finished that one, and then the same thing happened again. Maybe that was just like a really bad dose of RNG or something. It has never been that egregious since then, but outside of just that one moment, you can't really walk more than a few paces without getting hit with an enemy encounter. It's pretty bad.
This sounds like my experience with Lunar so far.
Yeah, and I played Dragon Quest V prior to this. That has pretty bad enemy encounters as well. Not as bad as this, though. That was at least tolerable. I will say at least the battles are fun in Live Alive. It's kind of like a half turn-based, half tactic type of approach to it. So you are fighting on like a checkerboard, and you're really just kind of seeing in what patterns the enemy is attacking and just kind of trying to avoid that and memorize those patterns and so forth. I'm really enjoying it. I did play the demo that came out for the remake last month, and I just can't get down with the art style, which is why I was like,
really?
Well, I want to go back and play the original because I know I'll at least appreciate the art style a little bit more. The remake is, from what I've heard, pretty faithful to the original, so I feel like I could not go wrong there going back to the Super Famicom version, though. I feel like the remake probably has some quality of life stuff in it, like not having terrible RNG when it comes to random encounters.
I heard it didn't even have random encounters.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, does it do like the overworld map? Like, what's the thing I'm trying to think of here? Chrono Trigger? Does Chrono Trigger do that? Yeah, like that.
One of the members in our Discord was commenting about it after you said, like, oh, the random encounters suck. And they're like, oh, it's like Chrono Trigger. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be an improvement, at least in my opinion.
For sure.
Could be.
Yeah, 100%.
I've never been, shy about the fact that I fucking hate random encounters by and large. I think it's a terrible mechanic anyway, but
I think they're fine. It's just like when your dungeon master just says, you walk into a forest. Oh, there's goblins. Roll for, what is it?
Initiative.
Yeah, roll for initiative. That's it.
Yeah. No, it's not like it's not like that. It's like
feels like that.
No, it doesn't, because this is okay. If all I want to do is get to the next thing, the fucking MacGuffin that I want, that every game has, they're just like, go get the 6 shards of derpader so that you can save the world. And I need to go find the next shard. And all I'm doing the whole time is taking like 5 steps and then being interrupted while I'm trying to explore something. That's not fun. That's just aggravating.
I think it's fine.
That's why I like having the stuff on the overworld map, because it's like, okay, you know what? If I choose to encounter this, then I will do that. Otherwise, stay out of my way. Also related, but tangentially, kind of, it's Live Alive. Have I been thinking this in my head wrong the whole time? Because I thought it was Live Alive.
Live Alive.
Okay. Well, there you go. I learned something today.
If you want to say Live Alive, you're also not wrong.
Yeah. No.
No.
English language, everybody.
There can only be one answer.
If you, in the Japanese phonetical system, it's ribe. So Live Alive.
Okay.
I don't know if you're anything like me, Shane, but when I am playing a JRPG that has random encounters in it, are you one to go through every single battle, or will you just eventually run from them?
No, I'll do every single one, because then I feel like I have to.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
And I think Chris has pointed this out too. Even when I've been playing Lunar, he's like, you could just run. I'm like, it's not the point. Like, I'm here now, so now I have to do it.
I mean, it's the easiest way to get, sidestep grinding, if there is any type of grinding, or at least make it less painful.
Yeah.
And I'm playing another game as well. I'm replaying Celeste. I played this on PC in 2018 when it first came out. And then there was a sale on the PS5, so I bought it for the PS5, replaying it, and I decided that I wanted to do a 100% run because I decided that life was not hard enough for me.
Yeah.
But to be fair, the vanilla game is actually, it's difficult, but pretty fair in my opinion. It doesn't take very long to get through, but unlocking those B-sides, basically harder variations of the level in which you collect the B-side cassette tape in, those I have been doing in bite-sized chunks because they are just incredibly, incredibly difficult. I think I'm on like the third B-side stage right now for the Celestial Resort, and it is kicking my ass. Absolutely dominating me. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you call it daddy?
I do call it daddy, yes. Also, one thing too that I found out playing Celeste is that if you really want to find out what your D-pad is made out of, play Celeste. Because I found out that the DualSense has an awful D-pad. It's so bad.
That's not encouraging.
It is absolutely maddening. I fucking hate it. And I originally played this game on, because again, I was playing on PC. So I was playing it on a Xbox One controller originally. You know, if I had to compare the two, it has a much better D-pad. I was not finding myself as pissed off as I am now.
That's always interesting to me because like I don't have an Xbox One or whatever. Like 360 is the latest Microsoft thing that I have as far as consoles go. And so like I have a wired 360 controller that I use with my PC, and I would never in a million years use the D-pad on that fucking thing. So like that difference to me is interesting that they managed to improve it that much.
Yeah.
Especially comparatively to the PlayStation. Although, I don't know, I had started playing Celeste also a little while back, and then I kind of dropped off of it. I should probably pick it back up again.
But speaking of games you need to pick up again, Shane, what have you been playing?
You know, actually, I've been playing a varied assortment of things lately. Fallout 76 has definitely taken up a lot of my time now. I've fallen deep into that hole, thanks largely in part to my friends who convinced me to pick it up and play with them. I am pleased to say that game actually is pretty good now. Much like No Man's Sky, it was a total shit show in the beginning, and they've managed to turn that around quite a bit. So I'm actually really enjoying it. It is definitely scratching that sort of like open world scavenging exploration kind of itch. So that's nice. I picked up a couple of bundles off Fanatical over the last couple of weeks for super cheap. And so I've tried out a few of those games. There's one called Beholgar, which is kind of like it's a 2D Metroidvania-ish kind of game where you play as like this Conan the Barbarian looking dude. Apparently it's only like 5 or 6 hours long, so it's not like a huge ask. And if my playtime is any indication, that means I'm about halfway through it right now. I have thoughts that I'm probably going to put into an RFR at some point in the near future. Suffice to say, I think it's a pretty like middle of the road attempt at a Metroidvania. I think it has glimmers of hope, and then there are some things that are just like supremely frustrating about it because I feel like they like missed the mark by like just this much. Actually, not since playing Elden Ring have I played a game where I was like swearing at my Steam Deck as much as I have been playing this game, just dying like 8 times in a row to a stupid fucking jumping puzzle.
Gotta plug that Steam Deck too.
Dude, that thing, I love that thing, man. Like no. What do the kids say these days? Something about a cap?
No cap.
No cap.
No cap. For real.
Yeah. No, that thing is pretty great though. I'm getting a lot of use out of that. Actually, it's kind of supplanted my Switch at this point, I think. But anyway, yeah, so I've been trying to plug away at that. Let's see, what else have I been doing? I need to get back to finishing up Hellpoint because Randall got that for me as a gift a while back, and I need to wrap it up because it's a pretty decent Souls-like. Yeah, I don't know, just like some other random stuff. Oh, I jumped back into Vampire Survivors too because there's yet another update to that. That game is like crack, but been enjoying trying to unlock more achievements and stuff in that one. That's always a nice one to just like plop down for 30 minutes and do a run and feel like you've accomplished something. So I'm sure there are others. I played today's game du jour on my PC. That's probably going to end up happening on stream.
Nice.
Because I can play it in HD widescreen with mouse and keyboard. Shocker, it's better
that way.
We'll get to that in a moment.
Did not expect that.
Yeah. So Chris, what have you been up to lately?
I really haven't had a lot of time to game lately. I somehow have found some ways to cram in some gaming time. So at work, when I'm supposed to be watching people take exams, and I am watching people take exams, Navy, don't at me. Don't fire me, more specifically. But like, I've been able to get my PSP in there and play a little bit of Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions.
Nice.
So I've been slowly making my way through that. I've been kind of just on and off playing that now for like the past 6 months or so, and just not making any real progress and just grinding out job levels and everything like that, just because that's what I find fun. It's just, I don't know. It's weird. I'm like, oh, you can continue on with the story. Nah, I want like super ninjas. Okay. So I'll just spend like 20 hours trying to get a ninja, even though like the game is only supposed to be like 25 hours long because I'm neurotic. Now, another game that I busted out recently and played a little bit of that I found fun was Nex Machina for PC. It's a Housemarque game, and it's a twin stick shooter where it has elements of, it's a lot like Robotron, actually, except, very much modernized. You have to make your way around a map, saving humans, and you get additional points for that. So it has that arcade feel to it. And in order to make it past level, you have to kill all the enemies that are on the level. So it's very arcadey. You can't have the option of not saving all the humans on a level, is because the main point is to kill all the enemies and move on. But you pick up like power-ups to yourself, like you get a shield or a spread shot. You can get an alternate weapon that causes massive amount of damage to enemies and helps clear things out. You get a dash attack or a dash movement to help you get through various sorts of, projectiles or beams or whatever the case might be. It's a lot of fun. I'm sure it's on other systems. It has to be if it's on PC, just because it's a twin stick shooter.
Yeah, I was just looking it up.
Yeah,
it's available on PlayStation also. So
yeah, I would imagine. I think Sony owns Housemarque now, don't they? Something like that.
Yeah. As soon as you said Nex Machina, I'm like, why does that sound familiar? And I played Returnal, which is the only other Housemarque game that I've played. And I've been meaning to play more of their games because they do have a very certain style to their game, very stylistic.
Yeah, it's very similar to that Defender clone, or Defender homage, I should say, that came out on the PS4 very early. I can't remember the name of it now. Nano something, I think. I might be wrong on that too, but it's very similar to that. It's just a twin stick shooter as opposed to a horizontal shooter. A lot of fun there. And just very quickly, I wrapped up Six Engine, which was a game, more of a concept game made by William Cage, who we interviewed a couple episodes ago. And I'll say this again, I've said this before, if you like Final Fantasy VI and you like the character development and kind of the backstory to some of these characters, it's a real joy. It's a real delight. I mean, honestly, it's clearly fan fiction, but I think that it's creative enough and it's enjoyable enough that any fan of Final Fantasy VI will get a kick out of it. You just have to go to the website and contact him to get a code to play it. And that's over at Squire Games. So if you're interested in that, just go give it a try. I did enjoy it, I'm being honest. Be aware it is a browser game. And hooking up your controller to the browser can be kind of a pain in the ass. And the keyboard controls aren't necessarily intuitive. So just be aware of that. You're more playing it for the experience that you get with the backstory it's providing. And it is his music. And the music that he does provide in the game is very good as well. So I'd recommend checking that out.
That's interesting. I didn't have any issue using my controller at all.
Huh.
Yeah, it just worked.
I was using Firefox, by the way. That could be it.
Oh, I mean, that could be it. I don't know. I use Brave, which is Chrome based, so that might have been it. I don't know.
Yeah, Firefox, it's great until it's not. I don't know why I still use it. I should probably use Chrome at this point. I use it at work anyway, and I have all my shit on there. Oh, well.
Yeah, Google knows everything about you anyway, so.
Yeah, right?
What's the point?
Even though when I have a incognito browser, it still knows. It still knows what I spank it to, and it sends material that is right up my alley.
Bringing it all back around to those gagging grannies.
Yeah, speaking of spying on people, we have a spy game for all of you, and that's called GoldenEye 007. Shane, out of the two of us, probably has a much more extensive history on this. I know he feels much more positively about just, well, in terms of memories, at least. We'll get into the actual. It's fine.
I'm getting ready to be attacked by both of you motherfuckers. So let's just go. Let's do this.
In that case, I don't think I can think of someone better to give you a brief history on GoldenEye than Shane. So Shane.
Yes.
How about you give us a brief history on GoldenEye 007?
The year was 1994. Thanks to a wildly successful reboot of a certain Primates franchise in Donkey Kong Country, British developer Rare solidified their place amongst the cream of the gaming industry crop. This was, by all accounts, a much-needed win for Rare, as their prior efforts had been largely hit or miss. With this newfound prestige and the backing of none other than Nintendo, the team was beginning to see more opportunities and creative autonomy. Shortly after the release of their hit Super Nintendo DK title and the Killer Instinct arcade game, Nintendo and Rare commenced talks regarding the development of a licensed game based on the long-running and well-regarded James Bond franchise. To be more precise, they were keenly interested in producing a tie-in experience to the upcoming film GoldenEye. Since the Super Nintendo was still en vogue, GoldenEye was originally planned to be a 2D platformer, similar to DKC. However, Martin Hollis, a programmer on Killer Instinct, proposed that they instead try to make the game in 3 dimensions for the highly anticipated but as of yet unreleased next-generation console, codenamed Ultra 64. With this change in direction, Rare could not rely on their experience with Donkey Kong and would instead need to seek new inspiration. Some titles that Rare have cited as direct influences on GoldenEye's gameplay and design include Sega's Virtua Cop, id Software's Doom, and Nintendo's very own Mario 64. These influences can be seen in the game's reloading mechanic, locational damage and accompanying unique animations, and reticle aiming system from Virtua Cop, the multiple scenario-based objectives from Mario, and, of course, the first-person perspective from Doom. The team would also go the extra mile and visit the set from the film to gather inspiration and keep the game as faithful as possible to the source material. GoldenEye 007 would see release on August 25th, 1997, a full year and a half after the film of the same name hit theaters. A bit later than Rare had hoped, perhaps, but the game's eventual release did line up fairly well with the premiere of Pierce Brosnan's next outing as 007, Tomorrow Never Dies, which helped prop the game up in terms of publicity. While most gaming media outlets at the time had understandably low expectations for this movie tie-in product, they quickly changed their tune once they actually had it in their hands. With an aggregate score of 96 on Metacritic, it's more than safe to say that the game was incredibly well received, making it one of the best reviewed games of all time. In terms of sales, GoldenEye was able to move over 7 million copies, the third best-selling game on the N64, behind only Super Mario 64 and Mario Kart 64. While many critics and gamers would praise the single-player campaign mode, it was more heralded and quickly more renowned for its multiplayer shenanigans. It also garnered praise for what was, at the time, innovative controls for a console-based first-person shooter. Today, many people continue to ask for a remaster. And no, we don't count GoldenEye Reloaded, hoping to recapture the fun that the original game provided 25 years ago. Due to the nightmare web that is licensing, the chances of a true remaster being released seem slim at best. But what we can say is that GoldenEye provided hours upon hours of fun for millions of gamers and their friends, and a legacy for the console first-person shooter that very few other games can claim to match. And that is your brief history of GoldenEye 007.
Thank you, Shane, for that brief history.